okay today. Okay, I can smell my curry paste now. Then you can add your protein. Like I mentioned, if it's chicken, pork, beef, or a very firm tofu, you can add it at this step. But if it's seafood or very soft tofu, you can add it at the end. Then you can just mix your meat up, and we'll cook it till your meat is about, let's say, it can be halfway done. Or with chicken, I would do like 60-70% done. And after you add your protein, you can turn up your heat a little bit. And after this, we will add the rest of your coconut milk. Remember, we only put half in the beginning, and then we'll add the rest of them. Another 200 ml or 8 ounce, the rest of your can. Okay, my chicken is about more than halfway done. Now I'm adding the rest of the coconut milk. (200 ml, 8 ounce), and I'll just leave it there till it starts boiling back up. Then you can add your vegetable. If you're using 2 types of vegetable, like aubergine, eggplant, and bell pepper, you can add the eggplant in first, then add the, like, kind of give it, like, depend on the type of vegetable you have. The one that take longer time to cook, you can add them in first and then add the other one in later. Okay. The coconut milk is boiling back up now. So I'm adding my eggplant. Remember, the vegetable should be about 1.5 cup of vegetable total. It definitely should not be like, it should still, all of them should be like still be soaked under the coconut milk and not like overflow all over the place. And if you have kaffir lime leaf, you can add it in right now. But if you're using lime zest or lemon zest, you can add that toward the end. Okay. And now it's basically just to let it simmer till your vegetables are cooked to your liking. But we'll, about after 4 or 5 minutes, we will taste the curry and see where we at in terms of flavor, and we will season as needed. Like I mentioned before, the coconut milk, some brand, they more sweet than the other. And the curry paste, some brand, they like a lot more salty than the other brand. So it will depend on also your type of protein, your vegetable. It will depend on what you already have on the stove. If you taste it and it's like, okay, it need more salt, you can use add fish sauce or salt if you're vegetarian. But I just add a little bit at a time so you have room to adjust. And if you taste it and you feel like, okay, it's a little bit too salty, you can add a little bit of sugar to kind of brought that down. So it will depend on what you already have on the stove, like how much fish sauce and sugar you'll put in. And even if you feel like, okay, you're just adding fish sauce and no need sugar, that's already quite sweet for you, add a little bit still. You'll be amazed how a little bit of sugar can kind of combine all the flavor together. but definitely not overly. I find like sometime the Thai restaurant in the US, they tend to make food quite sweet. So none of that. But we add a little bit of sugar would help kind of combine all the flavor together. But not if your coconut milk is already like overly sweet, then you might not need to add sugar at all. So this might be 10, 15 minutes from now for this point. So I'm just gonna let the eggplant cook a little bit. Then I'll add the chili, and I'll taste the and then see if I need to add how much seasoning I need to add. And the longer you leave it simmering now, the more reduced it will be as well. So you will be losing the water. It kind of depends like how soupy you like your curry to be. Usually for green curry in Thailand, we like to make it quite soupy because we like to eat that with rice or the rice noodle. For red curry, I would say about like medium, but for Penang curry, we usually make it like very dry, like dry, almost like stir fry like. So it depends on your preference. If you prefer it to be really soupy, once the water is kind of once it gets thicker, you can add more coconut milk, or for me, I would just add like water. Because you're losing water when you let it simmering. If you keep adding coconut milk, it will end up getting really thick and creamy, so sometimes a little bit too much. So if I feel like it's too dry for my liking, I'll just add water to kind of keep it to the level that you like. Yeah. And any of you guys ever had leftover curry? I guess you can type in chat if you have. I mean, if you have, I think most of the people would have tried that before. If you haven't, I would strongly suggest if you have the leftover, keep it in the fridge and heat it up tomorrow and eat it, because leftover curry they always taste better the next day. So sometimes I intentionally leave it overnight and to eat it the next day just for that. And you can adjust your heat up and down, kind of, if it's still like boiling too much, a little bit all over the place, like turn the heat down a little bit and adjust as needed. And when we well, after I finished mine, some of you guys might, I'm sure, like also if you doubling tripling the portion, it would take a little bit longer. I will take you out to the garden. Is the sun started to come up. I will take you out to the garden and show you some of the plant I have planted out there that I also use for my cooking as well. And then when we come back,